Hello, welcome. It's 5D Transformations. Happy to be here. And let's talk, man. We're going to get back to the MBTI. On June 1st, I have the MBTI course that's officially going to be launched, where we talk about each individual personality type, the 16 different types, and I'm going to break down how to access your superpower, your hidden power to be your most powerful self. I'm going to break down the functional loops that you have, the ones that are blocking you, and the ones that are going to help you get to your best self. So I'm excited for that. So leading up to that, I'm going to be dropping comparison videos and a bunch of different MBTI videos, um, just to get you ready for that. So in this video, we're going to talk about ENTPs versus ENTJs. So let's take a look.
Woman, we need to have a lot of shit to be an important man. To be a woman, you need makeup. If you're truly beautiful, you don't need.
And obviously, I'm using extreme examples, so this might trigger people, but I just click like videos of them just talking and saying stuff because I'm not trying to sit through a 3-hour podcast and So let's see.
Life for a man is harder than life for a woman. We need to have a lot.
All right, just to say, life is harder for a man than it is for a woman. I can clearly see the extroverted thinking in his communication. For those of you who don't know, extroverted thinking compared to introverted thinking is much more going to be generalizations. It's going to be open statements. Introverted thinking is all about accuracy and saying exactly what is connected to my mind. Extroverted thinking is putting out overall ideas. It doesn't mind it not being 100% accurate. It's more so seeking overall, like this hits the general amount of people. Like this is a general truth. It's not a specific no, this is a general overall truth. And even like, look, a lot of shit, like the communication is very open, very like direct, right? And it's generally focused on generalizing people and categorizing thoughts. Whereas introverted thinking is less attuned to the overall thought, and more so focused on my individual thought and my individual experience. Is very much close to home. Whereas extroverted thinking is describing overall groups and it's saying general truths. So look at how that is.
Shit to be an important man. To be a woman, you need makeup. If you're truly beautiful, you don't need anything else. I've been on boats in Dubai with 19-year-old Moldovan girls. The guy who got that boat needed $100 million. That bitch, makeup. Same boat.
So you can see a lot of generalizing. Now, one thing about extroverted thinking, it's always touching on a overall truth, a core, and a lot of the time they're harsh truths because they're not using extroverted feeling. Extroverted feeling is much more of the political function, the politically correct, the caring about how other people might feel when I say things. How will this affect other people? I mean, how people look at me when I say things. That's much more of a extroverted feeling function. It's all about, extroverted feeling is all about making the environment nice. And extroverted thinking is like, screw making the environment nice. This is the truth. And what he's doing is exactly that. He's like, this is the truth. I've been on boats. He's probably really been on boats with girls on here that are just solely looking attractive and guys on here that have hundreds of millions of dollars. But, the overall and generalization and the certainty in that generalization is what puts him in dangerous territory. Now, where is the certainty coming from? The certainty is coming from introverted intuition. Introverted intuition is like that bright elephant in the room that they notice. That they're like, this is the truth. Everything else kind of blurs out. Introverted intuition is very much noticing the things that stand out, the things that are the hidden gems. Introverted intuition is all about that. So for him, he's found these truths to be very true. These are things that he has discovered with his introverted intuition. So he believes it greatly, and he explains it with that extroverted thinking. This is very general truth for him, but it's missing so much FE. And ENTJs, if the way you can really tell is ENTJs have extroverted feeling as their lowest function. That is their weakest function. is extroverted feeling, is focusing on how the environment may feel about something, focusing on how the environment's going to perceive. It's not that they don't notice it, it's just that they don't care. It's such a low priority in their function stack that, they much more so value their individual unique perspectives and find that to be more valuable than the overall truth. They'll view that more so like sheep, like groupthink. And extroverted feeling does breed some groupthink, because just naturally, because it is group focused, it's non-self focused. And so, that's very low. That's his lowest function, lowest function. And you can see it, the intensity of what he's saying, how it could trigger people, and the lack of awareness or care of how much it would trigger people.
How hard it is. Look at a game of chess. The king moves one square at a time. What does the queen do? Zips here, zips there. Easy for a chick.
And as you can tell, he's using a lot of objective examples. That's what extroverted thinking does. It uses objective examples. He's not pulling from his own individual truth. He's like, yeah, let me give you this example. Let me give you that example. Extroverted thinkers generally pull statistics, things like that, to tell you their truths. So now let's look at Joe Rogan and see how he does things a little differently as an ENTP. Both of them are thinking types. As you can see, their feeling is a bit lower. They're rattling off thinking, just what they think. They have this kind of drier exterior, but the feeling is underneath it. It's like this boiling thing underneath, but it's very much collected because it's thinking dominant. So let's check out the ENTP with Joe Rogan.
Acid. I never done acid. Want to do it now? Okay.
All right, so introverted thinking, because it's more of the yin version of thinking, he's going with the flow and he's responding the next best thing. So extroverted thinkers will generally bring out overall truths. They'll pull them from here and pull it from there, pull it from here and throw it at you. Introverted thinkers are staying in this linear, it's like this 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how introverted thinking is. So Joe Rogan didn't come in, blah. No, he came in, he said something about acid. Do you want to do acid? He's like, no. Okay. Like he's there. He didn't veer off from the acid. We're talking about acid, that's what we're on. And you'll notice that with introverted thinkers, they stick to, now they can veer off into other things, especially ENTP, but generally it veers off from like a linear perspective and it's not as much throwing out extroverted data and extroverted like overall general truth. It's normally dealing with things moment to moment. So let's see what else. I've never seen these, by the way. This is my first time seeing these. So.
How are you? Thanks for coming on.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. First of all, a question I got to ask is about news radio. People are saying, is this show going to be here next year? Is it going to go away? Have they told you anything yet?
No, they haven't told us anything. We find out in about a week, supposedly. But tonight's the finale.
Yeah.
It was the finale.
Excited about that.
Yeah, it's a really funny one. We did a Titanic episode.
All right, that's old school Joe Rogan. Let me go back to what I was watching.
People reminding me that I'm fighting,
But even there, old school Joe Rogan was, just taking it one question at a time. He's not,
People reminding me that I'm fighting, this guy, and it was just like knockout.
He's got the highlight reel of death.
Yeah, it was a really big fight for me. It was a really tough fight for me too. I had a
look at the simplicity of the answer. They're sticking to the topic. I really need people to understand this. This is deep. Like extroverted thinking is generally looking at I always like to describe it like this. Introverted thinking is like, it's going linear. It wants to go here, then it might go here, right? Then it might go there. But it's all linear going into one thing at a time. Extroverted thinking will be here, then it goes all the way here. Then it goes down here. Then, this happened here. Oh yeah, randomly here. Oh yeah, boom. Like that's how it is. And that's the difference. Introverted thinking is operating off one timeline. Extroverted thinking is almost like jumping timelines. Like you're going from the future, then you're going to the past, then you're going to tomorrow, then you know what I mean? So you can see extroverted is always going to be more so exploring the map, whereas introverted is going to want to do things one at a time. It doesn't like to, it likes to stay close to home. So you can see, like, for someone to say that Andrew Tate is an ENTP, I can see why you'd be confused, but you can see the difference where ENTPs are riddling off random ideas about random stuff. They're like literally, the show Rick and Morty. Morty is a ENTP. Like they are mad scientists. They just think of ideas for the sake of thinking of ideas. They are very much, they like to think out the box. They are creative. They are, very aware of different people's thoughts and ideas, and they systemize these things. Extroverted thinking, though, is very much more like collecting data from other people. The best way to look at it, introverted thinking is really focused on originating pure new ideas from scratch. They more so value somebody's idea from scratch than just some data you pulled together. People who have extroverted thinking generally value data, overall truths and ideas versus what one person individually thinks. So you could always notice the difference. And so that's something that you'll notice.
It was a really bad camp. It was probably the worst camp of my career. My dad had passed away like 3 weeks before the fight, and like 2 or 3 days after that,
Why is that look so shitty, Jamie?
my cousin passed away. So it was,
Like, pull it back. Is it our computer that's doing that?
Yeah. It's drags with the computer.
Why is it? But come on, man. This is fucking. It's a YouTube video. Is it really that bad? What do we got to do to fix that?
Now, as you can see, Joe Rogan is that introverted thinking, man. He was just locked in on something. He wasn't really paying attention to the overall person's thought. One thing you'll notice too is extroverted thinkers are more so interested in other people's thoughts and ideas. Introverted thinkers are more so focused on their own. Now, ENTPs do have extroverted intuition, so they do like to hear other perspectives, but introverted thinkers are very attached to their thinking. So in that moment, Joe Rogan didn't even know what the guy was talking about because he was so locked in probably to what he was thinking, which was that this quality looks horrible.
Okay.
How about $5?
No,
No?
it's got to be.
Come on, man.
How about, what does that show you? Extroverted intuition. It's, how about, it's an idea. What about, what do you think about? How is this? What, have you ever seen this? What do you think about this? Can you imagine if those are all extroverted intuitive openings? Can you imagine what would this be like? They're all questions. That's why he's a podcaster, right? Andrew Tate, on the other hand, isn't really asking questions. He's more so answering them with certainty. The difference between NI is NI more so cares about its ideas. Extroverted intuition wants to hear other people's ideas. So that's, you can see the differences there. Let's continue.
$20? $20. I got $20 in my pocket.
Money is off the table. We can't do
Money's
money.
off the table?
Forget that.
All right. Sounds like someone's.
And once again, you get the introverted thinking, just responding to what's coming. Oh, nothing's on the table. Blah, blah, blah. We're talking about that. It's very linear. It's not veering off. Now let's look at Andrew Tate and see if he sticks in a conversation.
Right? If you're the kind of person who feels like they need therapy, you're useless. Because in the harshest realities of this cold world, there are people in Syria whose entire families have been blown to fuck.
Oh yeah, that's ENTJ all day, like giving you a certainty truth that's completely it's completely like it has not been cultivated and like dissected. It's just smacking you with it. You got to realize extroverted thinking is their first function. So if you want to see people's overall general thoughts just being shot out, they're the number one type that's going to do that. And that's why it comes off so uncontrolled. It's not really responding to anything. It's telling you overall truths that it thinks is facts.
Who are still getting up every day, making fucking bread, selling it on the streets so they have enough money to buy a new pair of sandals sometime next year. Never say go into bed. Go into bed is emasculate. Cowards need sleep. Oh, I'm texting you, you beautiful girl, but I'm tired. I'm going to bed. You know what I like to say at fucking 1:15 in the morning? I'm going to work. Work at this time.
These are overall truths. I'd like to see an interview, like Andrew Tate, an interview really quickly. Let me see everything. All right, let's see this really quickly.
I want to turn to the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. What is your view of this war?
I think when you call it a war, you're doing a disservice to the people who are having their limbs blown off by some of the most advanced technical weaponry on the planet. It is a genocide and it is disgusting. And it doesn't matter which side of the political spectrum you fall on. When you observe a genocide in front of your very eyes, you should be Disgusting.
Which side is waging genocide?
The Israelis are genociding the Palestinians, and you know it as well as everybody
I don't
else
know
does.
that.
Well, then it seems like your bosses are not allowing you to know it.
What do you
perhaps.
think of what Hamas did on October the 7th?
Why are you starting the story in the middle?
I didn't. I just asked you about the wider war.
Now, as you can see, he asked him a question. He did not respond from a linear perspective. He jumped out. Well, why'd you do that? Like extroverted thinking is not operating from a linear back and forth perspective. If you're an ENTP, you would not respond like this generally. It'd be a little bit more tact because you got the extroverted feeling. See, people don't understand ENTPs have extroverted feeling third. So they are very connected with how to communicate and be political and have that connection with people and playing that game of, you might have to bite, the bullet sometimes in order to move forward. Like they're more aware of that social game. Extroverted thinking dominant types like ENTJ, they have extroverted feeling last. So they do not play say the right thing and answer the question right. That is not their game. And you can see with him, look at how much his introverted intuition is stuck. Like this is what it is. His extroverted thinking is like, this is the overall truth. And that's it. Like, and his extroverted sensing is in the moment. And that's where you can feel that aggressiveness, that warrior energy pick up. And then that introverted feeling is like that fourth, but that's just making them feel like passionate about it. But you can see that ENTJs and ENTPs have a very different level of intensity. ENTJs will generally have a different level of intensity. For those who don't know, Diddy, he's an ENTJ. So just to kind of give you some ideas of different ENTJs. And then for ENTPs, I mean, I can compare a lot of ENTPs. I'll do another video with another comparison, but ENTPs are a lot more comical. Like one of the greatest comedians ever, Patrice O'Neal, he's one of my favorites. He's an ENTP, and ENTP is very analytical for the sake of being analytical, but they're not as hung to what they think as much as in terms of it having to be the truth. They're focused on their introverted thinking, like their thoughts, but they're not so gung-ho on getting other people to believe it. Whereas extroverted thinkers want to convince people. They want to convince you. And I'll play a little bit more and then we're going to be done. This is the last example of the two.
I'm now asking
Specifically
about
I
Hamas.
cannot professionally answer that question without talking about the context that led up to October 7th.
Well, nothing to my mind justifies what happened on October the 7th.
Nothing justifies what happened before October the 7th, Piers. This is the exact point. So you're talking to a man. I don't know what answer you expect from me, because let's forget the fact that I'm a Muslim. You're talking to a man who is fighting oppression to the best of his ability because he believes that the people in charge of the world are enslaving us all to the point where I detriment my own life. I end up in a jail cell because I'm speaking against oppression. Then you're asking me what I would do if my...
And as you can see, there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of overall truths. He's giving you a general overall blah, 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 and it's a lot of certainty. A lot of certainty. That's another difference. ENTPs, they're ENTPs. They're not judgers. They're perceivers. So they're going with the flow. They're not so tied to coming up with the overall truth and sticking to that. They're more so explorative. They're searching for truth every day. ENTJs are more so certainty. They have introverted intuition second. So they're looking to they close off their vision and hone in on the best thought that they think is the best. They block out the other ideas. ENTPs are like, hey, I want to hear more ideas. ENTPs are always looking for more ideas. ENTJs are always looking to limit ideas so that they can hold on to the truth for them. So what you can see is a guy that's really grasped into a truth versus if we go to Joe Rogan, I mean, look at the intensity on his face and then look at Joe Rogan.
Scared to lose at rock, paper, scissors.
It sounds like someone else is scared to lose it.
No, you're asking me for something that's...
Look how unserious this conversation is compared to the ENTJ. And it's not based on these these external truths, like these hard truths like war and battle and I've been oppressed and I've been in jail. That's very real and intense. That extroverted sensing and that extroverted thinking, that raw truth. Introverted thinking with introverted sensing, he's just going back to just fun, just regular ideas that are just honed in on what we're talking about right now. Just what we're talking about right now.
Ridiculous. You don't have anything. You don't have anything that's worth a week of programming on the show. You don't have it.
That's rough.
It doesn't exist.
That's rough.
No, it doesn't.
I don't even know if you can see a video of Joe Rogan as mad as Andrew Tate was in that one simple interview. And that really speaks to the lack of extroverted feeling. And, you know, so that's really big. That's really something to think about.
It literally doesn't exist. Like there's not, like you don't, there's nothing that you can have that you could offer me that I couldn't buy myself.
I'll
no,
it'll be interesting.
No,
Enjoy talking with them.
You can't. No.
All right, fine. Okay.
But that doesn't do anything for me. That does something
No,
for
no,
you.
of
That
course,
does zero for
you
me.
would have, if you win, you would name your steak.
I don't have a steak.
Okay.
There's nothing I want from you.
All right.
Hello.
Oh, UFC face mask.
Yeah.
This is the last example we're going to see right here. But in that last clip, what you could just see is Joe Rogan is honed in on the subject, going back and forth. He's not veering outside of that. And that's one of the biggest differences I want y'all to notice, you know. And this is the last clip.
That was the funniest thing you've ever fucking said, dude. That was,
that's
no, not the funniest. Top 25.
Thanks.
Top 25. That was hilarious.
He said, listen, Alexander the Great was 32 and he conquered the known world
Yeah.
in 10 years.
And so thinking about that.
Well, I mean, I write about pornography in that book, Sacred Matters. I have a chapter on sexuality, and I write about deep throat. And
Did you just swallow?
Yeah.
Now look, that's the last thing I'll use as an example. Introverted thinking is, oh man, this is a great video, man, because I just think it allows you all to really see how I really view MBTI and how a lot of you might view MBTI, where it's like you could clearly see the difference. Like introverted thinking, look how he responded. Like the dude said deep or whatever, and he could have ran with that a million ways, but he just honed it on like, did you swallow? Because that's what he noticed in that moment. And the last thing I'll say is introverted thinking is simply looking moment to moment at what you observe and what's happening moment to moment, what you observe. That's introverted thinking. Extroverted thinking is not doing that, so it's coming up with just overall truths, but it's not spending time seeing what's going on moment to moment from a thinking level. And there's power in both. So extroverted thinking is very much externally focused. It likes to provide overall truths, data. It likes to pay attention to the collection of thoughts. It likes to collect thoughts and come up with overall truths. Introverted thinking is much more moment to moment. It's focused on the accuracy of what is going on in the moment. It likes to take things one step at a time. It's very linear. And it doesn't like to really jump around. It likes to just talk about what's going on right now and pulling out the best out of what's going on right now. And then it goes to the next. It's a much more patient, linear type of function, but also introverted thinking is much more connected to what it thinks. Whereas extroverted thinking is much more able to debate and hear different thoughts to come up with an ultimate thought. So those are some differences between the two. That's the difference between an ENTJ and an ENTP. And aside from that, I'm going to have some more coming. So get ready. 5D transformations. Make sure to go on 5dtransformations.com. Join the 5D community called 5D University. And we got some new courses that came out. You can check them out on the website. Talk to you all soon. Peace.